Did you hear about our new sponsor, Learn It? One of the best ways to support your team is by investing in their growth through practical learning experiences. And that's exactly what Learn It delivers. Their short, live workshops focus on the essential human skills we all need, like empowering others, managing change, and team collaboration. As a Speak with People listener, you get a free 45-day trial for up to 20 people. Start today by heading to learnit.com/speakwithpeople or click the link in the show notes and start your journey to investing in providing great growth for your team. Welcome to the Speak with People podcast, where we believe that healthy communication is the key to unlocking your leadership potential. We are the go-to resource for leaders looking to greatly improve their communication skills, whether it's one-on-one interactions, team settings, public speaking, or digital communication. By improving these skills, leaders can create stronger connections and drive positive change within their organizations. Each and every episode, we sit down with experts from various fields from around the world, just like you're grabbing a coffee with them, to dive into real, practical conversations. Our goal is to help you transform your communication skills so you can lead more effectively, build stronger relationships, and make a lasting impact. So go grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's learn together. Well, how do the best leaders handle stress without letting it break them? I don't know about you, but wow, that question in of itself is so powerful. In my short 49 years on the planet, have had quite a few stressful situations, and I can't wait to dive into our topic today. How do those same leaders turn that pressure into fuel for success instead of burnout? Whew. Well, if you've ever found yourself overwhelmed, struggling to make decisions, disconnected from your team, this episode is for you. Today we're sitting down with a incredible leader in this industry, in this field, someone that I've learned a ton from following his LinkedIn page. I cannot wait to dive more into his story. He's a former C-suite executive. He's transformed stress into a great leadership asset. He's just extremely knowledgeable and an expert on mindfulness. So he's got a great journey from high stakes corporate crises to mastering mindfulness. I can't wait to dive into this conversation. I've been looking forward to this, and I welcome Singh to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
What an honor. I can't wait to dive in, all different parts of your journey. But for our listeners, why don't we do just that? Why don't we spend a second just on your story, who you are, what you do, what's got you to this place?
Sure. I'm Singh. I'm CEO and founder of Singh Leadership Program. It's two different programs that we have. One is Ascendancy Action, which I started initially, a holistic framework for development of both individuals and groups. And then the second one is Leadership Mastery Compass, which actually becomes the way you become great from being great. What I mean by that is there's a lot of different ways that people learn today, but being able to put something in micro minutes and teach them something that they will never forget and they always go back. And there's something I try to do. So, for example, let's start teaching right here. Um, Stop sign. We all see stop sign at least once a day if we walk out, we drive, whatever.
Mhm.
Next time you get to a stop sign or you stop doing anything, even if it is a signal or walking or doing your day to day job, the moment you take that break, take this 36 minutes micro exercise. Stop and think about the last thought that just came to you. Put a second to feel if it manifests somewhere in your body, a tension in your chest or your neck, itching in your stomach or something like that. Just put a label to that emotion and move on. What this does is it takes about 35, 36 seconds to do it, but this is the way of training your brain on not to just be on autopilot all day long and bring that power of presence. And that's my
Wow.
story. So
Wow.
the story actually this whole concept I started working on in December of 2020. In October 2020, we had a ransomware attack. I was the chief technology officer, and we went through it in less than 48 hours. We were live. We were out of ransomware without paying any ransom. Yes, we took help from some of the agencies with three letters.
Wow.
We got help from a couple of other partners and stuff like that. But what started this conversation in my head was after that event, I was brought on to speak in 7 different conferences related to ransomware, related to cybersecurity. And towards that fifth and sixth discussion that I had, I started thinking something that came so naturally, why people are making this such a big issue that people cannot figure it out. And the more I dug into it, and the more I reflected back of 20 years of my work, that was not the only incident. That was just the last one that happened with me. And because of not traveling with COVID, enough time on my hand, I actually had time to reflect. It tied back to mindful training that I had to go through when I was 14 with a Lama in Tibet for about 3 months. And that practice has always stayed with me. And I have been teaching that without giving it a framework, without giving it a name. So when this thing happened in 2020, in 2021, I designed Ascendancy Action System. It's a 4 part, uh, 5 A's of goal setting. Then it goes into progress, which looks at holistically purpose, reflection, organizing your life around your purpose and reflection, then getting into transformational pieces of empowering yourself, grit resilience, support system. Um, I started working with a lot of folks through LinkedIn and a couple of other communities across the globe, and I started getting very good feedback. One common thread that I observed was even though I was giving them a full blown workshop, a full blown workbook, what I did not put in there was the secret sauce of mindful practice that I have,
Mm.
right? So then I created Leadership Mastery Compass, which actually brings the 4 elements, the cardinal directions I say: presence power, emotional agility, cognitive clarity, and transformative action into every moment of your life.
Wow. 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 That's powerful. I can't wait to dive more into that. Tell us a minute. You go by saying, is there walk us into that. Is there a musical past in your background? Has that played a big role? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I go by Singh first. I don't want names to be butchered, so it's easy for everyone to understand. It's sing a song, right?
Yes.
I get on a stage, sing a song. So musical background, yes. My parents were very heavily musical, kind of education wise. They have had music in their life, and as a young kid, and being the youngest sibling of a very affluent family, I was very hyper. I just could not sit in one place, and I was 4 years old when my parents introduced me to classical percussion, Indian classical percussion. And by age of 13, I had already done postmasters in Indian classical percussion, but I still could not control myself. And I would pick fights on the street, literally. I mean, if you're walking next to me, there's 90% chance that you and I are going to get in the fight. And that's when they're like, okay, he has enough energy, but it needs to be channeled in the right way. And that's where I got introduced to the Lalama to be able to go through the training, which is a whole different story. I'll write a book on that someday of my experience of 3 months. Uh, but long story short, yeah, I mean, music is something. Even today, my kids grew up playing multiple instruments. There is a connection of music to every human being, right?
Mm.
And that most basic connection is the breath. And in the moment, and that's why the micro practices that I share all day
Yep.
long, it is about that focusing just for 4 seconds on your breath gives your brain the break it needs from over analyzing everything else that it has going on.
Wow.
And the rhythm, and that rhythm is of breath in any human, in any animal, in anyone. That is the fundamental of all music. So
Wow.
when we are under pressure, we need to connect to music, and the easiest music to connect to is your own breath.
Wow. Wow. My goodness. There's- I'm a little bit stunned because there's a lot to unpack there. That's
Let
whew,
me
that's
let me help you that. Let me help you there, right? So I'll give you the second exercise. So
okay.
the first one was a stop one, right? The second micro exercise is um, before you start any work, no matter what it is, a meeting or whatever, driving, whatever you start, before you start that work, just stop for 16 seconds. Take a deep breath, count of four, hold it for a count of four, exhale for count of four, and hold for count of four. That's one full cycle of box breathing. And go back to your normal breathing and just think about the work that you were going to do or the work that you are going to do. What is the outcome? Number two, who else could have done that work better? And if that does not happen, then what?
Mm,
This is a huge model of self check in, right? I mean, for every human being, especially with leaders and in this digital age, where the statistics that we have collected, believe it or not, uh, almost 85% of leaders they spend the first 15% of their meeting preoccupied in their brain with previous discussions and things that has happened in their life.
wow.
So, so think about productivity that changes in a work environment if you did not lose that. And again, nobody is doing is deliberately, just that we are in autopilot. Our lives are in autopilot.
Yep.
So this quick 16-second self check-in, it does not just do good for you by getting in that motion. What I am trying to get from it, if I did not do it, who else would do it better? And what if we don't do it at all? It puts you in such a present moment that now you are being truly respectful to other people's time that you're going to engage, even if they are the employee, right? Even if they are your employee, you are being respectful of that productivity of the other
Wow.
people.
Wow. Could you go back there for a second? So,
Yeah. Mhm.
85% of leaders are preoccupied in the did you say in the first 15% of
Yeah.
meetings? Okay.
So in the first 15% of meeting, typically the meeting on an average runs for 30 minutes,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? The first 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes, people are busy on autopilot, not busy. People are on autopilot with past whatever happened. And the last 10%, so last 5 minutes, 6 minutes, they're already thinking about the next meeting.
Wow.
And this
Wow.
is from the statistics of more than 100,000 people.
Right. Right. With Speak with People, we do client focused communication training, and we'll talk
Mhm,
about, if you're constantly racing from one appointment to another, you're
mhm,
really shorting the person that you're meeting with. And that that research proves it at a whole different level because you're already overcome with the race to get there and everything happening, but
mhm.
then when you sit down with them, you're still disconnected from them. Just
Right.
powerful.
Mhm. And again, what I always encourage people is these micro learnings is for a very simple purpose. My goal is, I was discussing with you earlier, my personal goal is to get this small 1 minute micro mindful practice to 250,000 people. And the way to do it is any listener on this session, this topic, if you practice yourself and think about how powerful your meeting is going to be when you sit in front of clients, knowing that the first 15% of the time they are going to be distracted. If you spend 60 seconds just to bring them in the moment,
Mm,
and I'm not asking you to take them through some kind of deep meditation. I'm just asking you to simple one cycle of box breathing. So 4 count of inhalation, 4 count of holding, 4 count of exhalation, and 4 count of holding. Go back to normal breath. Whatever your meeting is for, get everybody on the same page with those three simple questions. What are we trying to get out of this? If we were not doing it, who else would have done this better? And what if we don't do this?
Wow.
Right? What you just did there is you put everybody on the same page on what your outcome of your sales meeting is going to be,
Yep.
right? Even before you start selling, you sold it, right? In sales meeting, it's always said that let's show them how much painful it is. If they don't do, then there's a pain that you have to relate to increase your price. Well, you already have them answer upfront without even getting anywhere because you brought them in the present.
Wow. Wow. So I'm thinking through some of my early years and the giant amount of pride that seemed to, always be prevalent in my leadership. How do you walk through, especially if you're a manager and you're wanting to bring this to your culture, get your team on the same page? Because, wow, I mean, this could literally transform the sales meetings, the culture, the meetings.
Mhm.
So, how do you walk through leading some of those prideful team members that are looking at this going, oh, this is such a waste of time?
Yeah. So there is another. So as part of ascendancy action, I said there's a progress framework for individuals, but then there's a peptid framework for the teams. So peptid stands for four statements actually. The first one is uh, power and energy. On so my concept there is that how can you bring everybody in your team at a particular level that everybody is running with that energy and power and passion, right?
Right.
Um, because not everybody has 100% every day, but collectively can you bring together to a point where you need that threshold. The second of that is professionalism and empathy, right? Unfortunately, in today's world, the moment we say I have empathy, unfortunately it relates more to being pity than empathy itself. And
Mm,
that's why I coined professionalism with empathy. So if one of your team members is not 100%, don't be pity on him. Become part of him,
mm, wow.
right? Because tomorrow you might not be 100%. The third one is transformation in every action. So how do you build a culture where every conversation is transformative for someone in the team? That at least one person in the team gets to get, aha, I got it, right? It can be as simple as an error in a code base. It can be as simple as a minor mistake in a drawing. It can be as simple as correcting the language. No matter how big, you see, that's where micro learning comes in. That's where micro practices comes in. And the moment you do these three things in a team, you get delight and joy,
Hmm.
right? Which that delight and joy then ties back to power and energy. Because the moment you are joyful, the moment you have delighting experience, right, you are more involved in it. The more you are involved in it, the better your professionalism and empathy behavior is, right? The more you are bringing the team as a transformational team. I mean, that's how again and again and again I have built at least 7 to 8 different very high performing team from nothing.
Wow.
And it's the same exact step by step by step. But again, you have to be patient yourself,
Yep.
right? And the second thing there I would say is for individuals who are working alone, um, there are a lot of people who are self contributors and they don't have big teams and stuff like that. And again, I used to be one of those guys that with big head, small face, big head kind of deal, right? So the simple thing there is gratitude journaling,
Mm,
right? I'm not asking you to write a book. I'm not asking you to follow any instructions. All I'm saying is when you write one sentence of 6 words to 8 words, that you can be thankful in a day, even if it
Yeah.
is a good coffee when you need it, right? Even if it is a simple parking space in a crowded parking lot, right? You have to be thankful about something happened in 24 hours that you woke up from your bed and you're going back to bed. There has to be one small incident that you can be thankful of. Start there.
Don't just hope for better client conversations, equip yourself for them. The Speak with Your Client series is live from April 14th to May 30th, packed with powerful tools to help you build trust and close more deals without being salesy. Catch expert led podcasts, weekly blogs, live webinars on Mondays, and grab your free copy of the High Trust Sales Playbook. Make sure you're following Speak with People on all the socials. Join the speakers group on Facebook or the Speak with Your Client LinkedIn group just for the series. Don't miss a moment. Everything's waiting for you at speakwithpeople.com/speak with your client. Your next client is counting on it. Let's go back to delight and joy for a second because I can remember when I was working on an MBA and they handed me Primal Leadership by Daniel Goleman. And it was the first
Hmm.
time I think my head actually exploded because he talked about just the delight and joy you could experience. And it just seems like so many of our corporate environments are just void of that delight and joy, especially for the managers listening, the people who
Hmm.
have the responsibility of leading, other team members. How important just is that process to make sure you're bringing that into your culture?
So, great point. In leadership, what you see today is a dilemma of finding the balance between two extremes, right? So,
Mm.
one extreme is typical corporate. Uh, Maybe it's not right for the show, but the word I use is dog eat dog culture. Fast pace, growth only. I don't care
Yep.
what happens. I need the result. Right. So that's one extreme. The other extreme that even Google tried once is everybody sitting on a beanbag not doing anything because they need some mindful space. Uh, the truth is somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah.
That the truth is in the middle, and that's the true challenge for modern leaders is finding that balanced approach, cultivating presence, clarity, emotion resilience while maintaining the focus on results,
Mm.
by maintaining sustainable growth, right? Because as leaders, as managers, we are playing two roles. We are playing a role of fiduciary for the company who wants the result, right? And then we are playing the role of a coach for our team, right?
Wow.
And we have to create that value and balance between the two. And by grounding these simple mindful practices in the realities of modern business, right? That is the way of achieving sustainable growth. That is the way of achieving measurable results. And then the interesting thing about this whole thing is that, more than often, the first question I'm asked is, I get all this. Do you measure? I said, yeah, we measure every single thing. And we have got at least 15 different exercises, depending on the kind of people we engage with, that we do a beginning baseline analysis.
Mm.
And typically it is 3 to 4 questionnaire, depending on who you are, to be able to baseline your personal stress level, your personal value system that you have, and what your expectation is from this engagement. Now, let me give you another tidbit, a big one. Um, how many people on this world actually know what their purpose is,
Sure.
right? And if you look at that simple word, and remember, purpose is the first letter of progress framework. Purpose, reflection, organizing, grit, resilience, it goes that way. Purpose is just something that you are the best at
Mm.
to give someone that gives you fulfillment, right? Purpose is how to give your best of what you have to someone to get fulfillment back. And the fulfillment you get in 3 ways. One is you thank me that I gave you something transformational and change your life. That's gratitude. The first. Uh, Second G is there is always some kind of growth that you see in the people, right? I gave you some information, I gave you some technique, I coached you on something, and then I see you grow. That's another way of getting fulfillment, right? So gratitude, you thank me, growth, I see that you are growing. And the third one is grace. And that's
Mm.
collectively bringing everything together to uplift humanity. And for the first time, I'm a licensed facilitator for the purpose factor assessment. And there are links on my website also, but if anybody interested, I would highly recommend for every human on this earth to take this one test
Mm.
and assessment, and that is the purpose factor assessment. I think it costs maybe $50 online. But the more important thing then will be to find coach or facilitators like myself who can walk you through and change your entire life.
Wow.
Right? Think about the passion and energy we talk about. What if you knew day after day after day, the moment you leave your bed in the morning, how you are going to live with your purpose, transforming lives,
Phew.
right? How you can use in what you do. It's not about quitting your job and doing something different, right? If you think about it, y- leaders and managers and anyone who is listening to this, if you define your growth, you can define your growth in one of two ways. You are content with what you do and you want to grow on that, or you're not content in what you are doing and you want to do something different, right? And purpose helps you in both.
Could you say that last part again? Purpose helps you.
In both.
Oh,
So
yeah.
both, if yeah, yeah. If you are trying to stay in your lane and just grow within that, or you don't like what you're doing and you want to do something different, purpose, understanding and coming up with a tangible step by step of how I can change that. It helps both.
Wow. Wow. Uh, as you look back with your corporate time, was there a moment for you where you either witnessed a mindful leader that just drastically, changed everything for you, or you witnessed the opposite of it and you thought, I got to really do something here so I don't become that?
Both.
Okay.
I have observed both. Uh, I will give you example of the second one. It has happened twice, and I left the company. When I see people not being mindful and decisions being made with 100% dog eat dog culture,
Mm,
I can't take it. For myself, I can't take it. Because as a leader, then I can. That is not how I drive my team, my people, my coworkers.
yeah.
So it's better for me to just move on with something different. Specific instances where I have seen mindful leader change industries. It has been in two or three different instances or jobs with me. I don't think they would call mindful as a practice in their
Mm,
dictionary, but it had all the essence of being present, being emotionally available for others. I mean, I know a chairman of one of the Fortune 100 companies, whenever a decision is made, his first question is how it's going to impact my employees, how it is going to impact my policyholders, right? So
wow.
somebody who is coming with that kind of mindset in a Fortune 100 where every quarter you have to give an answer
Yep.
to the street, that's a very powerful statement and question to ask anyone that comes to you. Similarly, the last job I did when we had the ransomware attack, the leader there, I mean, he is a great friend of mine. But again, I mean, the level of emotional resilience that this person has, right? I mean, you can walk in his office, he has an open door policy, even at that level. Literally, I have seen people walk in his office and throw the sink out on his table,
Wow.
and he will just smile and ask simply, "Do you have anything more to spill before I can start cleaning it?"
Wow. Wow.
right? I mean, think about if you have a leader in your organization. I always use example, right? Think about, and everybody can resonate and identify at least 5, 6 people in your life. There are leaders who walk on the floor and people try to escape in cubicles and rest areas because they don't want the first person to be in front of them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then there are leaders that there is a word that his car came in and they are all around his office just to say hi, right? So it
Yep.
is human to human connection. Now, the problem with the first leader is not that person himself or herself. It is just that that person has to step back and get into some kind of program that helps them to become emotionally available to others.
Wow. Absolutely. Wow. That's poof. So tell us, as we start to close out the interview. Tell us. I
Mhm.
mean, this year you're doing something that many authors dream of. You're publishing a book, but that's not it. You're actually publishing two books.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about the first one, and especially for leaders, kind of give us the scoop on that.
Yeah, sure. So like I said, I started with Singh leadership program, and I came up with two different frameworks. Now, till mid last year, I was planning to launch only one book at some point. But then, as I started engaging more and more, and I saw the more I engaged outside of corporate life and with people, with masses today, the more I am seeing the break points in our entire education and training program, and how much more people are missing.
Mm,
So I do have a book coach. I have a very strong coaching team that helps me and supports me. And one of those sessions happened with somebody who was a book coach of Simon Sinek also.
hmm,
And I was talking to him and I said, hey, here is what I have. So I do have this program. The leaders can sign up this program and I help them transform, their teams transform. And it's two different models. What do you want? What do you expect me to do? He said something very interesting. He said, if you have a framework and if you want ever to publish, publish as soon as possible and publish the whole damn thing
ah,
for two simple reasons. One, anything that you don't publish in today's digital world, people are going to create their own sense of their own definition and sense and meaning of whatever they can collect from digital world outside. So it's better that you give your thing completely to everyone because, to be honest, I liked his statement. He said, self-discipline, self-personality development, whatever you call it, it's a multi-trillion dollar business.
mm,
If everybody read every book, then we would not be having this conversation. Everybody would be sane by now, right? But the point of releasing the book is for making sure people don't distort the framework itself. It's a very strong framework. And both my books are going to come out with workbooks that you can practice yourself.
mm,
Now, the difference is going to be if you do it yourself. I mean, you can take over the counter medication all day long if you know the symptoms and live with that, right? But if you want something transformational, then you will have to see a physician,
yeah.
right?
Wow.
And I like that metaphor from him. And I said, you know what? I'm just releasing both books. And so I finished up Ascendancy Actions book, which has the four frameworks I mentioned for individual and personality development. Um, Even when I was building out the program, mindful practices are something that is what makes this program successful is those micro practices all across the thing. And
Mm,
that's why the second book is Mindful Pivot. How can you pivot in every single situation, moment by moment in your life to make the most of the human life that you have?
wow.
So that will be the leadership compass mindful pivot book.
Yes. Boy, I already know I cannot wait to order when it comes out, because especially for the work I do, I'm already so excited because I know it's going to help and elevate. And then even the leaders that I'm training, I cannot wait to introduce them to it, your process, because this framework, because again, the change and the way that they'll be able to level up their leadership, I just can't wait. This is fantastic.
Love it.
This is great. Hey, before I let you go, let me ask you a couple rapid fire questions. We're
Hmm.
building this online communication library for our listeners where they can go and be inspired, find new authors, speakers, podcasts. And so we, from time to time, we talk about public speaking on here. We have different speakers. Is there a speaker that every time you listen to them, they not only grab your attention, but they help transform your leadership? You highly recommend other people follow them, listen to them.
Mel Robbins,
Mm,
Oprah. I listen a lot of Oprah.
boy, I love it. That's fantastic. I have yet to get Mel's new book, Let Them. I cannot wait
Let them,
to
yeah. You got to get your hand on it.
I love that.
It's a
And
must
then
read.
if you're a podcast listener, not everybody is, but if you
Mhm.
are, is there a guilty pleasure podcast or a development podcast that you just keep going back to and you just recommend it to other people?
I love the 1 minute. I know it's more of a series, but that so by default, that's what's playing in my car if I'm not listening to something more creative.
Yep.
Because the way I just like the way it has been orchestrated that no matter where you start that series, every minute it's giving you something that you can pick up and on that day.
Mm.
And it has happened a lot of time that I'm getting into a workshop or I'm walking into a speaking engagement, and the last thing I heard was that 1 minute, and I start with that person's statement that, "Hey, this is the last thing I heard, right?
Yep.
This
Oh, I
this is
love
the
that.
last thing I heard, and let me make this powerful for you today."
Yeah. Boy, I love that. When it comes to books, is there a
Mhm.
book that as a
Oh my
leader,
God, yeah.
every leader
I
has
have
to read this book?
so the leadership Bible I have been following for 20 some years is the 21 Rules of Leadership.
Mm.
Uh, I read that book at least once every year.
Wow. I love it. And then as a musician, just curious, what's is there do you have a favorite instrument? Is there an instrument that you're just drawn to more than others?
I learned and graduated all my education in percussion. So by default, I love playing percussion, all kinds of percussion.
Huh.
Uh, but when it comes to listening to, I just get memorized every time I listen to Kenny G.
Mm,
I have seen some of his live events. I mean, I'm a big fan of his. I mean, it just takes you out in fraction of seconds.
absolutely. Absolutely. I was a music major, so music was always a big giant part, and so absolutely love it. Uh, well, okay, we want to help on this podcast, your mission this year, because I, especially after listening to you, reading all of your things, I know that the mission you're on to help get these 250,000 leaders to subscribe and get these type of activities is just huge. So where can we find you? What's the best place to connect online? Where can we send our listeners?
Sure. So the listeners can go to my website, singleadership.com, SINGHLEADERSHIP.com. And we will be releasing more and more free mindful practices and stuff like that, which is more in um, connection with the weekly podcast that I do on the Transformation Network. So if you want to listen something online live, I am live at noon Pacific every Tuesday on the Transformation Network,
Okay.
and then it gets to YouTube within a couple of hours. So if you follow that, you will get it there. And then I'm always available on LinkedIn. Please DM me, reach out to me. Love to love. I mean, see, like I said, I'm so passionate about it that I don't mind stepping out of the lane and helping people in their day to day what they do. And I'm a big fan of being collaborating with people, collaborating with other coaches and company owners to help the community come together in a whole different level.
Yep. Oh, that's incredible. Well, we'll do that. We'll make sure we tag all of these in the show notes so people can find them. And we'll put that in the speakers group. Again, listeners, if you're not in the speakers group, go to Facebook and search under groups for the speakers group. We'd love for you to join us in there. Well, Singh, I can't thank you enough. This was absolutely brilliant. Thank you for just so freely sharing your wisdom. Cannot wait to get your books as they come out, and we'll do everything we can with Speak with People to promote them as well. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time too.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Speak with People podcast. It means the world to us when you share this episode. Thanks for liking, subscribing, or following the podcast. That really does help the podcast get into more ears and into more leaders listening. Also, don't forget, we have 2 exciting resources for you. The first is go to Facebook and join the speakers group. This is a community designed for leaders who want to grow their communication skills. Also, go to speakwithpeople.com/skills library to access the Communication Skills Library. It is an online resource chock filled with resources that will inspire you and transform you and grow your communication skills. Thanks again for being a part of the listening community. We cannot wait for the next episode.